expenditure on wages and other payable to employees that have been included in operating costs in the period but are not actually paid or do not have proof of payment as prohibited by law. Wage, bonus, life insurance, premiums for employees that are not specified or in on of the following documents: employment contract, collective bargaining agreement, financial regulation of the company, general company corporation, reward scheme insured by the president of the board of director, general director, or director in accordance with the financial regulation of the company or general company. If an employment contract between an enterprise and a foreign employee has an education expense of her children in Vietnam from preschool to high school, which is covered. Which is covered by the enterprise as part of the wage does not contaminate regulation of law on salary on wage and has sufficient proof. Such education expense which be deductible expense when calculating taxable income. In case an employment contract between an enterprise and an employee has a payment for housing of the employees, which is part of the wage or salary, do not contravene regulation of law on salary and has sufficient proof. Such payment will be in deductible expense when calculating taxable income. In case a Vietnamese enterprise signed a contract with a foreign enterprise which states that the Vietnamese enterprise must incur the cost of accommodation of foreigners expect during their working periods in Vietnam. The house rent paid for foreigners expect working in Vietnam by the Vietnamese enterprise will be deductible expense when calculating corporate income tax. Expenditures. Expenditure. Expenditure on wage, salary, and allowances of employees that have not been paid after the annual tax declaration is submitted unless the enterprise has made a provision for inclusion in the wage fund of the succeeding years. The annual provision is decided. The annual provision is decided by the enterprise, provided it does not exceed 17% of the released wage fund. If the company does not use up the wage fund provision made in the previous year, within 6 months from the end of the fiscal year, the expense in the next year must be reduced. If your company does not use up if the company does not use up the wage fund provision made in the previous year, within 6 months from the end of the fiscal year, the expense in the next year must be reduced. Example 9. Example 9. When submitting the annual tax declaration of 2014, enterprise A. Make a provision of waste fund of VND 10 billion. On June 30, 2015, tax period of enterprise is solar calendar year. Enterprise has used only VND 7 billion from the waste fund. In this case, the expenditure on waste of in the next year, 2015, must be reduced by VND 3 billion, equal 10 billion minus 7 billion, making the annual tax declaration of 2015 enterprise A making provision for waste fund if it wishes to do so. Wage and salary of the owner of a private company, a single member limited liability company, owned by an individual, waste of the founders, members of the board of members or the executive board, who do not directly participate in business administration.